Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan page, which has a plot synopsis and character bios for the issue we're about to cover. So we are going to be looking at Amazing Spider-Man number 13 from 1964. It also happens to be the first appearance of Mysterio. I'm going back to do some of these earlier issues that I didn't cover. I happen to own two versions of the story. I have the Marvel Tales version of this story, and I also ended up buying the Epic collection. So here's the original cover. This is written by Stan Lee and pencils by Steve Ditko. Actually, Steve Ditko also does the inking himself. Steve Ditko is probably also a co-plotter, but it's one of the reasons he ended up leaving is he just wasn't getting the respect. You know, it's kind of funny. At first, when one person says it's not me, it's you, you know, you kind of can go, okay, who knows? But when two big people, one of them Steve Ditko, the other one Jack Kirby, says, you know what, it's you, Stan Lee, not us, we're leaving, then it's probably Stan Lee. So Steve Ditko felt underappreciated, and if you know anything about Steve Ditko, he means it. So when he left Spider-Man, he never did anymore. So all right, so the name of our story is The Menace of Mysterio. And we get a splash page that was more of a secondary cover of Spider-Man robbing these people here and running away. And you can see the webbing stuck on him. So, before very long, you're about to meet a startling different breed of arch-villain. Expect the unexpected when you see Mysterio. Now, let me tell you something. I love the name and I love the costumes. So, why this dude isn't even an even bigger villain, I don't get it. But between him and the Chameleon, wowzers. These two could probably get away with just much about anything. So, all right, here we go. Our tale begins with the shocking suddenness of a summer storm as we see, help, police have been robbed. There he goes, he's getting away. Do you recognize him? Of course, it was Spider-Man. Nobody else can leap or climb sheer walls like that. And so, watchmen on this roof. Well, this will take care of them, and he webs them. Look out, he's tangling us up in that web of his. Hurry, we've got to cut ourselves free. Too late, he's getting away. Seconds later, hidden by slow rolling fog, which spreads over the city, blotting out the moonlight, the colorful figure drifts silently to the ground using a hastily improvised parachute made of thin, strong webbing. Then, after the watchmen have freed themselves, he's got away, but at least we know who it was. It was Spider-Man. We'll get him sooner or later, but I never thought he'd really turn to crime. The next day, scenes like this take place all over the nation. Read all about it. Spider-Man wanted by the police. Unbelievable. What did he do? He probably decided to cash in on all his superpowers, the crummy crook. My children have always admired him. This will be such a shock to them. It's a great shock to all of us, says the other lady. He must be nuts if he thinks he can get away with a one-man crime wave, no matter how powerful he is. The police will sure have a tough job getting him, but they'll do it sooner or later. So, of course, Jameson is super happy. So, find all the old editorials I wrote accusing Spider-Man of being a menace. I want to reprint them now so the people can see how right I was. And Betty Brant says, I can't believe this. Believe this of Spider-Man. I still remember how he saved my life, which is in Spider-Man 11, which I did not cover. All right. And in the schoolyard of Midtown High, Spider-Man sure had us fooled. When I think of how we made a hero of him, what fools we were. Gee, I don't know, Liz. We can't be positive. He may still be innocent. And the other guy's like, knock it off, Flash. He's guilty and you know it. Flash always had a thing for Spider-Man. And now the moment we're waiting for. Let's visit Spider-Man himself in his everyday identity as Peter Parker, teenage student. This is impossible. It's insane. I know I didn't commit that crime, and yet those witnesses, the evidence, it couldn't have been it couldn't have been it couldn't have been an it had, I don't know, that was written wrong. It could have been an imposter. Nobody else can shoot a web as I do or climb sure walls the way I can with my spider power. There's only one other answer, but it's too awful to think about. Am I becoming a split personality like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Perhaps I did it in my sleep without knowing it. Okay, so this part maybe was correct. It couldn't have been an imposter. Okay. Makes sense after I read the other part. Sorry about that. Haven't read these in forever, I tell you. So, when I got the Epic collection, I didn't really read it because I've seen these and sometimes I just get things just to get them and all that kind of stuff. But my goodness, I haven't read the Marvel's Tales thing since, my goodness, I must have been 12. So as I read these, I'm kind of reading them again for the first time in 20, 30 years. So, all right, minutes later in the kitchen. Gosh, sorry, Aunt May, that's the second dish I've dropped today. And Aunt May says, Peter, dear, you don't seem to be yourself. Is anything wrong? You're not worried because our savings account is almost gone, and it's getting harder to pay the mortgage each month, are you? We'll make it out somehow, dear. I love that. You know. I know, Aunt May. I've been studying too hard. I'll just try to get some sleep. As Peter goes up to his room. The poor dear. I worry about him so. He's not as rough and thick-skinned as most other boys. He's sensitive, and he worries more than he'll admit. Aunt May looks like a grandmother. Goodness gracious. And so, I love how they have him here. Aunt May is correct. Peter Parker is worried about something she'd never suspect. I never thought it would happen to me. I'm afraid to shut my eyes to go to sleep. But eventually sleep does come to Peter Parker, and the next morning when he awakes, bulletin, Spider-Man has struck again during the night. He's like, oh no, what's happening to me? Am I losing my mind? Maybe I'm going mad, doing things I can't remember the next morning. There's only one thing to do, only one way to find out, so he puts on his Spider-Man costume. And a short time later in the office of a nearby psychiatrist, don't be alarmed, Doc. I just want to know one thing. Can a person do something in his sleep that he'd never do awake? And the man thinks, Spider-Man, if I can make a patient out of him, I'll make medical history. Imagine a mysterious superhero who's a mental case. I think I can help you. Just come down from the wall and lie down on the couch. I'll try to probe into your subconscious. Don't be nervous. Okay, Doc, but no tricks. Here? Just make yourself comfortable here. Relax, and then tell me anything that comes to your head. I appreciate this, Doctor, if you can help me. Oh no, what a mistake I almost made. If I just relax and say whatever I think of, I'm liable to give away my secret identity. I don't dare. Sorry, Doc. I just changed my mind. It looks like I'll have to find another solution. Sorry to have bothered you. Wait, come back. You're the kind of patient every psychiatrist dreams of. Stop. A short time later, at the offices of the Daily Bugle. Peter, what's wrong? You look so dejected, says Betty Brant. Nothing, Betty. I'm okay. You're probably worried because you haven't sold any new photos to Mr. Jameson later. Oh, Peter, if only you'd find some different type of work. Lay off, will you, Betty? I'm in no mood to be preached to. You're always saying that it's too dangerous to try to take exclusive crime photos. I don't tell you how to live your life. Don't butt into mine. And then she's like, you never spoke that way to me before. Now, keep in mind that they're dating, but she's an adult and he's still in high school. So, go figure. Then Peter enters the private office of a jubilant J. Jonah Jameson. Look at these letters, these telegrams. The public finally says I was right about Spider-Man. What a great triumph this is for me. I'm glad you're in a good mood, Mr. Jameson. I need a loan. My aunt has a mortgage payment to make and we're a little short. Why me? I'm not a bank. You know my rule, Parker. I don't lend money. I'm busy now. You know where the door is. I'm not asking for much. Just a little till I get some pictures for you. Don't try to take advantage of me just because I'm soft-hearted. The answer is no, unless you want to sell me the secret of how you take those great crime photos of yours. No dice. You know you must have some sort of special camera. Imagine if I ever told them I wear it in my belt when I'm dressed as Spider-Man swinging over the city. No thanks. Oh, sorry. Thanks for nothing, Mr. Jameson. Finally. I know I shouldn't do this while the whole city's hunting for Spider-Man, but the only way I can get the mortgage money for Aunt May is to take some news pics for which JJ will pay me for. If I'm lucky, I may spot a crime being committed while I swing through town, and there's those people there. Look, it's Spider-Man. After him. Call the police. Don't let him get away, as everybody's trying to get poor old Spider-Man. It's worse than I thought. The public hates me now. And the terrible thing about it is, I don't know if they're right. I can't make the money I need, and I may be committing crimes without knowing it. Boy, life sure is a bowl of cherries. The next day, on the way to high school, I don't know what to worry about first, paying the mortgage or wondering if I'm sleepwalking criminal. Peter, wait for me. And it's Liz who ends up marrying Harry eventually. I've been wanting to show you my new hairdo. Do you like it? Sure, Liz, it's real nice. Of all times to have to talk about a gal's hair. What nutty timing. For months, Liz couldn't give me a tumble, but since I've been dating Betty, Liz has got a crush on me. You look upset, Peter. Is anything wrong? Wow, is that the understatement of the year? Nah, everything's great, Liz. If it gets any better, I'll shoot myself. Oh, Peter, I always knew you had a great sense of humor. Meanwhile, a few yards away. Quit kidding, Flash. You don't really think Spider-Man's innocent, do you? You're darn right I do. Let me tell you. Hey, look at that. Wowee. Gosh, Liz, I almost didn't recognize you. You're beautiful now. Really, Mr. Thompson? And what was I before, pray tell? Poor Flash. He's always saying the wrong thing. So, all right, we're back at Jameson's office. What did you call this meeting for, JJ? Some nut sent me a note saying he could get rid of Spider-Man single-handedly. I told him to come up here and prove it. And so smoke coming through the door. And the guy says, look at the door. And walks in Mysterio. I am Mysterio. What a getup. He's cornier looking than Spider-Man. By the way, I think that is an awesome freaking costume. There is a reason for my disguise. If the underworld ever finds about my powers, they might try to stop me by threatening my family. Powers? What powers? How do we know it's not a trick? You could be Spider-Man himself under that fishbowl. You will learn soon enough that I mean what I say. Mysterio does not lie. I don't know if they thought this would be that fishbowl thing, but this costume is so cool. I must go now. If you wish to end the menace of Spider-Man, follow the instructions in this envelope. Remember, although Spider-Man has great powers, the power of Mysterio is even greater. Where's that smoke come from? He's disappearing. He's gone. What kind of a person was he? Quiet. I'll see what this letter says. And, I don't get it. But it must make sense or Mysterio wouldn't have gone to all the trouble. Print a notice in the Daily Bugle saying if Spider-Man wants to learn the truth about himself, he should meet Mysterio atop the Brooklyn Bridge. And so the letter then vanishes. Did you see that? The letter vanished in a puff of smoke. You know, JJ, Spider-Man can be beaten. I've got a hunch that Mysterio is the one to do it. Well, we've got nothing to lose. I'll print that notice, and if it means in the end, Spider-Man, I'll wait. And if it means the end of Spider-Man, I'll become a hero to the people of this city. And the other guy's like, "That's right, JJ." And so the next day, did you see that notice in the Beagle today? I wonder who Mysterio is. I don't know, but anyone with such a corny name must be a phony. Oh, man. Stan Lee's making fun of me because I think it's so cool. This may be the chance I've been waiting for. Maybe Mysterio knows what's behind the Spider-Man crime wave. I've got to meet him. Within minutes, one of the world's most famous, most controversial costumed figures approaches the Brooklyn Bridge in his own amazing manner. I hope the whole thing isn't just a gag, but I can't afford not to check it out. I've got to move cautiously in case it's a trap, but how can it be? There's no one in sight. Then, suddenly, unexpectedly, a figure appears. I am Mysterio. I'm the one who will single-handedly destroy Spider-Man. And Spider-Man thinks it wasn't a gag, but if that costume clown thinks I'm a sitting duck, he's got another thing coming. I don't know what your game is, Mysterio, but hey, overconfident fool, my power is greater than yours. See how easily I can avoid your attack while springing behind you and launching one of my own. But having the proportionate strength and agility of the invertebrate for whom he's named himself, Spider-Man quickly recovers. And then, "What's wrong, Mysterio? I don't hear you bragging now. How does he keep his balance that way without falling? I'll bet his shoes are magnetized." Well, I'll just grab him and holy cow, he dodged me again. Did you think you could beat Mysterio with one measly blow? That's what I get for pulling my punch, because I want to take him alive. Well, if a wallop can't beat you, let's see what a web can do. And he swings, or he shoots his web at him. I told you my power was greater. Now watch me prove it. And I don't get it. In one gesture, he seems to be stopping my web in midair. Very cool. The web is dissolving, vaporizing, as though it's been sprayed with a fine chemical mist too small for the eye to see. Too bad, Spider-Man, your puny little bag of tricks is almost exhausted, but there's no limit to my power. See how easily I can elude you anytime I desire. One of the things, if you notice, I'm just on page 10. Look how much stuff is jam-packed into these issues. That's the first mistake. He can't lose himself in a cloud of smoke. My spider sense will lead me right to him. But once inside the thick bellowing mist, this has never happened to me before. My spider sense isn't working. It's as though something is interfering with it, jamming it. Can't see him, nor can I sense him, but I mustn't give up. I'll swing wildly back, maybe lucky, but Spider-Man's luck seems to be running true to its usual form. All bad. Ugh! What a situation this is. I can't see him, but he sure can see me. He's got to be near me somewhere. I'll keep swinging. He planned every detail of this fight, even finding a way to jam my spider sense. Oh, I've got to do something. He's making a helpless punching bag out of me. My spider strength enables me to resist blows that would knock out normal man, but I'm still not invulnerable. Besides, it looks as though Mysterio does have superpowers, which are as great as my own. The longer I stay there, the more punishment I'll take. The only thing I can do is this, and he jumps off the bridge. Then, as Spider-Man hits the water, the dramatic figure of Mysterio appears once again through the bellowing mist. I've won. If Spider-Man couldn't defeat me, then nobody can. Now Mysterio is supreme. Seconds later, a helicopter appears on the scene. Spider-Man has been defeated by Mysterio. We are proceeding with Operation Pickup. Woo! What a drop. Uh-oh, the police whirly birds. As if I don't move fast... If I don't move fast enough, I'll be caught. Spider-Man swiftly fashions an airtight web helmet and places it over his head. This will enable me to hold my breath underwater long enough to get to safety. Minutes later, at a lonely pier. Well, one thing is for certain. A defeat like this will sure keep me from ever getting too conceited. As he climbs out. Then, after silently reaching his home. But the day isn't a total loss. I did learn the answer to one of the things that's been worrying me. The next day, a crowd lines Fifth Avenue as a motorcade led by a happily waving costumed figure. Mysterio deserves this parade. At last we have someone who can beat Spider-Man. Hooray for Mysterio. Spider-Man wouldn't dare pull any more crimes in this town now. And among the teenagers watching the parade, still think Spider-Man's so great, Flash? Darn right I do. Mysterio's just a big publicity hound. If you ask me, my dough is still on Spider-Man. And so, you know something, Flash? You're not as dumb as you look. In fact, you're okay, fella, says Peter Parker. Look, Puny Parker, I don't need compliments from you. And while we're talking, I want you to stay away from Liz Allen. She's my girlfriend. Really? Too bad she doesn't seem to think so. But don't worry, Bright Eyes. You can have her. A short time later at the office of J. Jonah Jameson. I want the members of the staff to meet Mysterio, the man who beat Spider-Man. Mysterio is a real crime fighter. He's not afraid to meet people and be interviewed as that cowardly Spider-Man was. Still love that costume. And once Mysterio has defeated Spider-Man for good, he will reveal his true identity exclusively to my newspaper. It'll be the scoop of the century for me, right, Mysterio? Right, just so long as you remember the money you promised me. Mysterio, I want you to meet Peter Parker. Don't let his age fool you. Despite his youth, he's the best photographer I've got. I'll expect him to take some great pictures of your next fight with Spider-Man. I'll try not to disappoint both of you, Peter says, as he shakes Mysterio's hand. I love... Ah, man, I should draw an updated version of this panel. It looks awesome. But unnoticed by anyone in the room, Peter Parker's left hand contains a small electronically treated spider pin. And so we get a little disclaimer, or like the little star here. The same type of device used in Spider-Man number 11, which enabled him to track the getaway car of Dr. Octopus. While no one is paying attention, I'll just slip my little spider device in the folds of Mysterio's cloak like this. Now I'll be able to trace his movements. There's more to Mysterio than meets the eye, and I'm going to find out what it is, thinks Peter. Then, as Peter leaves Jameson's offices, Betty Brant tells him, I'm glad to see you smiling again, Peter. Are you celebrating Spider-Man's defeat also? Not exactly, Betty. In fact, I'm not so sure Spider-Man has been defeated. We'll see. I have to rush now. I'll see you later. You're not sure, but... And so she thinks, he's never been so anxious to leave me before. Can he have met another girl? I've noticed a pretty blonde with him occasionally. Oh, stop, Betty Brant. You're becoming jealous. While behind the door to Jameson's office, I shall leave now. Oh, no, sorry. I shall leave you now, Jameson, in my own manner. Farewell till next time. And that guy goes, he's gone. For heaven's sake, JJJ. How does he do it? Who cares? The important thing is that I finally found someone who can beat Spider-Man. I feel like celebrating. But Jameson might not feel so triumphant if he could see the dramatic figure on a nearby rooftop waiting to receive the electronic signal from his hidden spider pin. Ah, my spying device is beginning to register now. Within minutes, the piercing signal flashes in the night outside a TV movie studio building. Hold him, Mysterio. We've some unfinished business to take care of. And Mysterio's like, Spider-Man, how? You didn't think I'd let you choose the time and place for our next fight, did you? But it doesn't matter where we battle. I can beat you here as I did in the bridge before. All I need to do is create my conceal mist, which makes you unable to see me, which also dulls your spider sense, so you cannot be prepared for my blow. Do I make myself clear, Spider-Man? Or do you still want more proof I can do this all day? Okay, I get the message. I can't cope with your bag of tricks, but admit one thing. It was you who committed those crimes. Disguises me, wasn't it? Of course, only I have the genius to imitate, in fact, improve upon your own powers. I might as well tell you the whole story, for I shall see to it that you never tell anyone else. I used to be a movie stuntman. Then I became a special effects man for TV movies. I designed all sorts of costumes and props. Then I got the idea of imitating you. I spent many long weeks studying all your powers, all your abilities, everything that was known about you. I was sure I could duplicate your feats. And so he's sitting there looking. Whatever Spider-Man does naturally, I'll find a way to do artificially. Using the skills I had acquired designing movie props, I made a gun which fired a nylon cord resembling your own web. I designed shoes and gloves with special suction cups enabling me to cling to walls. My suction cups works. From a distance, no one will know I'm not really Spider-Man. My plan seemed perfect. I could commit all sorts of crimes and you would get the blame. But then I got a still greater idea. I could create a separate identity for myself. I'd call myself Mysterio, and then I'd battle you when I defeated you. I'd be a national hero, for no one would know that Mysterio is both the criminal and the conqueror. My helmet is based on the principles of your eyepieces. I can see out, but no one can see in. I created a fine spray made specially treated acid, which was the sole purpose of dissolving the web, if you should ever use it against me. And the bottom of my boots contain chemical smoke ejectors as well as magnetic plate, which enable me to duplicate your own amazing leaps. That's actually quite good for the 60s. I love it. Very James Bondish. Even my name, Mysterio, was created to instill awe and fear in the hearts of my enemies. I was able to see you within my protective cloud because I have built-in sonar device which aids me at the same time as it jams your own spider sense. And now I shall dispose of you forever. And Spider-Man says, "Don't count on it, Big Mouth. I've got to stay around long enough to give this tape recorder to the police and prove my innocence." And Mysterio says, "A miniature recorder? Miniature? Look at the size of this thing." "Bah! It will do you no good. I'll destroy it after I've defeated you." But in a split second, Spider-Man flips backwards out of the spreading mist. "Not this time, Mysterio. Remember one thing. Your power is artificial, but mine is natural. And I'll bet my natural spider powers anytime." And so I've got to circle around, try to find him within the mist. Have to keep moving fast. Can't lose the advantage. He's not here or here, but he's got to be nearby. And if I keep swinging, sooner or later, I was right. There he is. And he hits him. This is actually a great panel as well. And then as Mysterio goes sliding along the floor into the next door studio. "Okay, quiet on the set. Let's roll him." Wait, what is this? "Get that guy out of here. He's in the wrong movie." "Gangway, boys. I know I'm not a member of the Actors Equity, but I don't have time to get my union card right now. I've got a little job to finish first. You won't escape me with that smoke cloud again. My web will fall all over you like a net, trapping you. Fool, I'm prepared for anything you can do. I'll simply dissolve my web with my chemical spray. Oof. Thanks, fella. I'd hoped you'd do that. Give me a chance to wallop you. You forget I used to be a movie stuntman. I know how to roll with a punch, so as not to be hurt. My special spring boots, and now I'll use my special spring boots to frustrate you again." this issue's so cool. There's not a spring built that'll save you from me, Mysterio. No, you can't stop me. You can't. I've waited too long, planned too well. I can't be thwarted now. Rolling with the punches isn't gonna help you now, Mysterio. And Mysterio's like, didn't expect me to land upright due to my stuntman training, did ya? Nope. I'm overwhelmed. I don't see how little untalented me will ever defeat a genius like you. Sarcasm won't help you now. I still know tricks you don't even suspect, like tossing an enemy over my back through a sudden move. You mean a flip? And now that you're off balance, where'd he go? Up here. I know a trick or two myself. And so, you picked the wrong guy when you try to frame me, Mysterio. You should have found some easy victim, like the Human's Torch, for instance. Don't just stand there. Somebody help Mysterio. Spider-Man's turned bad. So you help Mysterio. I'm getting out of here while I still can. Police, I'll call the police. Sure, you do that little thing, says Spider-Man. You haven't won yet, Spider-Man. I beat you once before. I'll do it again. Using your little smoke routine, huh? I'll say one thing for you, Mysterio. You never learn. Your concealing smoke screen won't help you. While I can use my spider sense. Wait. Your concealing smoke screen won't help you while I can use my spider sense. And you can't stop me from using it if I smash your jammer like this. And so he punches in wherever that jammer is. And now I'll do you the best favor of all. I'll finish this off quickly so that you won't get too bored. I mustn't forget to take my automatic camera, which I hung on a piece of webbing up here to catch all the action. I'll fasten it securely to my belt container like this. It's like money in the bank to me. And now one last plunge into Mysterio's cloud mist, and I'll wrap this up for good. With my spider sense completely operational now, it's a breeze to make my way through the mist and leave the studio unseen by anyone. You can see him carrying Mysterio. And with the strange mist finally clears. For the love of Pete, where'd they go? You nincompoop, the greatest action scene in history. You didn't even film it. And the guy's like, but they weren't members of the cast. Probably didn't even belong to the union. And a few minutes later at police headquarters. I heard Mysterio was here. What happened, Chief? It's incredible, Mr. Jason. Spider-Man brought him here, and we have a full confession on tape from Mysterio's own lips. He's the criminal we've been seeking. Spider-Man is innocent. Our men are picking up all the stolen loot now, Chief, thanks to Spider-Man. Mysterio's the guilty one. Spider-Man is innocent. After all I wrote in my newspapers, I'll be the laughingstock again. Oh, no. And so, then when Jason returns to the office, and so you can see Jameson going into the work, his head all sulking down. Cancel all my appointments, Miss Brandon. Send for a bottle of aspirin, a big bottle. Yes, sir. Peter Parker was just in. He left some photos for you. Huh. A lot of good photos can do me now. What are those? Fight scenes. Spider-Man, Mysterio. That lucky Parker, he must have been there just at the right time. These pictures are perfect for the front page. I'm saved. Stop the presses. We're putting an extra. And so at that time, Spider-Man walks to the door. I'll write out a check for Parker. He won't have to worry about that mortgage now. I'll be generous and pay him almost half of what these pictures are worth. Got time for a visitor, JJJ? And he's like, I just dropped by to congratulate you on a perfect record. So far, you've been 100% wrong about me. I've got to hand it to you. I'll bet it's not easy to make a fool out of yourself all the time. What are you going to do, he says. I just dropped by to help you, old pal. I figured you needed a new outlook on life, so I thought I'd give you one. And so, help me, get me down from here. I'll get you for this yet, you masked menace. See if I don't. Look, it's Spider-Man, the one who caught Mysterio. And so Spider-Man is vindicated by the public. And then the next day, looks like you were right all along about Spider-Man, Flash. I'm right about everything. But what about you, knothead? Are you satisfied now that the Spider-Man is one of the greatest guys around? Heck no, Flash. Personally, I still wouldn't trust him any further than I can throw him. Minutes later, poor Flash, if he only knew the real identity of his favorite hero, I would be it would be worth anything to tell him someday, just to watch him explode. The end. So, hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this issue. I like this reading it with you. So, haven't read it in forever. So, Amazing Spider-Man 13 from 1964 by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.